J-Dev is back at it here to give everyone another Walking Dead Season 4 episode review video. But before I get into that, it is extremely important if you're not caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching The Walking Dead for you to pay attention to that episode title. I'll even put that title in the description for you if that's the case and you find out that you're not caught up. Then I suggest that you don't watch this video any further, simply to avoid any potential spoilers. This will be The Walking Dead Season 4 episode number 10. The title of this episode is called Inmates. This will be my review, reaction, recap of the episode. And keep in mind, I've seen this episode a few times. Just reviewing it to have it on the channel and reviewing it due to the fact that they announced that The Walking Dead Season 11 will be the final season of The Walking Dead show. So definitely wanted to get that on the channel. We start with a flashback. Beth narrates a diary entry discussing her hopes of a new life in the prison. Well, we know that's short-lived. And then we go to present time where Beth and Daryl are sitting around a campfire having fled the prison. Beth insists that they must not be the only survivors of the governor's attack and demands Daryl help her look for the others. She then goes off on her own in the forest and Daryl follows her in slow pursuit. They find some footprints, but also some human blood and signs of a walker attack. And Beth is nearly killed by a walker who emerges from the trees. Now, eventually, the pair discover and kill several walkers feasting on human remains by some railroad tracks. Beth spots a small shoe, assuming it is young Luke, and Molly admits the remains and breaks down crying. And Luke and Molly are the two kids that were at the prison. I think in the first episode, might have had more of season 4. They were by the fence helping Lizzie, Mika, Carl, Patrick kill walkers, I think. Meanwhile, Lizzie and Mika are walking along in the woods behind Tyrese. When they stop to ask a question, Tyrese turns around and it is revealed to be, or that Tyrese is carrying a still alive baby Judith. People thought she was dead. Come on, you would see her die if she was dead. As night falls, they find a clearing to relax in. Tyrese feeds Judith while Lizzie sits on a nearby log. Home to 3 baby bunnies, she quietly removes her knife and kills them all. All 3 of them. Lizzie, you are a psychopath. The group is forced to flee after hearing walkers nearby. The next morning, the group finds a grapevine and begins to pick the grapes. Mika is startled by a noise in the bush and runs off as Tyrese is changing Judith's diaper. Tyrese and Lizzie give chase and find Mika several minutes later hiding behind a tree. As the group recollects themselves, they hear screaming in the distance. Tyrese leaves the girls, saying he has to go investigate and they should keep an eye on a crying baby Judith. Lizzie actually covers Judith's mouth to muffle her cries. A pair of walkers nonetheless begin to close in. Mika does attempt to warn her sister, but Lizzie is seemingly lost in trying to quiet Judith and begins to slide her hand over the baby's nose as well, because Lizzie is psychotic and likes to kill things. Tyrese comes upon a walker attacked by a set of railroad tracks. 2 men are fighting off a group of walkers. Tyrese kills the walkers but is unable to prevent both men from being bitten. He then hears Mika's handgun fire off in the distance as Tyrese begins to head back for the girls. The 3 of them, along with Carol, walk out of the brush. Tyrese welcomes Carol back and actually runs up and gives her a hug, unaware of her exile by Rick, because Rick was about to tell him in 408, Too Far Gone, but then the governor showed up and attacked the prison, so he didn't get a chance to tell him it was Carol that killed Karen and David. Before he dies, the older man of the 2 men that Tyrese tried to save tells Tyrese about a sanctuary up the tracks. The group follow the tracks and come upon a sign promising a community for all at a nearby place of safety. Maggie, Bob, and Sasha are in the woods by a quarry. Maggie sharpens her knife on a rock while Sasha bandages Bob's shoulder because he had got shot in 408 Too Far Gone. And then Sasha tells Maggie they should camp there for the night. Maggie, however, sets off in a search for Glenn, reluctantly followed by Bob and Sasha. Sasha is angry and upset at what she sees as a waste of time. Bob, however, argues that the search gives their lives a purpose beyond mere survival. And that's true. While walking, they come across the prison bus, which is filled with walkers. Maggie insists on checking to see if Glenn is inside after Bob says they'll do it together, and Sasha reluctantly agrees. Sasha opens the emergency door with the intention of allowing one walker to exit at a time. Eventually, the pressure of all the walkers trying to exit the bus proves too much, and Sasha can no longer hold the door. They needed Hodor from Game of Thrones. If Hodor was holding that door, the door would be held. I don't know. As the walkers attack, Bob and Sasha are forced to defend themselves. Maggie initially seems dazed and is nearly killed by a walker before Bob intervenes. She then becomes enraged and begins to kill the walkers, repeatedly smashing a female walker's head into the bus before stabbing it. Maggie then goes onto the bus to see if Glenn is alive inside. After killing a walker that had been stuck inside, she sits down and begins to cry. And that walker looked exactly like Glenn, but they didn't actually show it to be Glenn. And then, after awakening on the prison walkway that was destroyed by the tank, Glenn calls for Maggie. So how did Glenn get to that point? I don't know. Despite his initial despair, he collects some clothes and supplies, including Bob's bottle of brandy, a lighter, Herschel's watch, Maggie's picture that he took, and a couple other things. And then he puts on the riot gear and then pushes his way through the walkers. After escaping the crush, he sees Tara, who has locked herself behind a fence. Glenn joins her, and after checking to see that her weapon was not fired during the attack on the prison, tells her they should go. Tara refuses, saying that she joined the prison attack and is thus responsible for its outcome. However, Glenn insists that he needs her help. Glenn grabs Bob's bottle of brandy and uses it to start a car on fire. While the walkers are distracted by the fire, Glenn and Tara escape the prison and reach the road near to the prison bus. Tara describes seeing Lily being sworn by walkers on the field outside the prison. That was her sister Lily, after she shot the governor, and reveals Herschel's death to Glenn. She tells him Brian, a.k.a. the governor, had told her the prison group were bad people. She believed him, but now she sees that was not true and cannot understand why Glenn would want to help her. Glenn explains that he needs to find Maggie. That's his sole purpose, Maggie. After a small group of walkers attacks, Glenn collapses, wheezing, leaving Tara to tackle a walker on her own. And then she looks up to see a military truck has pulled up. And she yells something to the degree of, "You like the free show?" And then 3 people come and climb out. And those 3 people would be Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita. Great comic book moment there. And they all did their pose that they do in the comic book. And then Abraham says to Tara, "You got a goddamn mouth on you. You know that? What else you got?" Or what else you... And then the episode ends. So I like this episode. It was a little slow at times. The Daryl Beth stuff I could give 2 shits about. The Maggie, Beth, and Sasha stuff was... It was okay. I liked the Tyrese, Carol, Lizzie, Mika, Judah stuff. And then, of course, I like the Glenn, Tara, and Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene stuff. So that was good. My favorite part, obviously, is the end of the episode where Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita show up. So I'm going to give the episode an 8.5 out of 10. A lot of characters didn't have a lot of focus. They all had like the same amount of focus, but Carol's was the most important. She helped Tyrese, Lizzie, and Mika, and Judith. So I'm going to give Carol the character of the episode. So you've heard what I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead and you love this episode, or even like it, go ahead and smash that like button. If you know anybody else that would be interested in listening or watching these type of videos, go ahead and share the video with them. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments section. Your thoughts on the episode, your score, favorite Walking Dead episodes, favorite Walking Dead characters, least favorite characters, anything you can think of, that's for the comment section. I'll respond to any and all comments. And of course, last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that. Well, I already told you about hitting that sub button. I already told you about smashing the like button, but don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your support, and damn it, be a part of something special, and J-Dev will return.